Well, thank you. We've got two hands up to start off with Graham and Derek. Now, one's down. No, Derek's. By all means, put some questions across. If you've got your hands up, please ask the questions. We're quite happy to answer those. But before we do that, I'd like to introduce Paul and Simon to the room. Paul and Simon have been working hard over the last, I think, 12 months, especially for Centenary celebration. Anybody who doesn't know, BMFA 100 this year. So, Paul, Simon, I'm not quite sure who's kicking off. I think Paul said he was kicking off. Yeah, so, without further ado, let's let you kick off.
Hi, everyone. It's great not to see you because I can't see you at all, but I hope you can see me. As Mark said, I'm Paul Hoey. I'm chair of the Centenary Planning Group, and my connection with the BMFA is I'm area delegate for East Anglia, and therefore a member of council. And somehow, when people stood backwards, I didn't stand backwards quick enough, so I ended up as chair of this of the planning group. Arrived in my post recently a letter from a gentleman who was born in 1922, John Giddings, who lives up in the northwest. He was a member of the Society of Model Aeronautical Engineers before the war, built his first model that actually flew when he was 13. And when war broke out, he used his experience of modelling with the RAF and then ended up in the Royal Aircraft Establishment doing really quite serious aerodynamic testing on aircraft during the war. It just illustrates that we've got a fantastic history behind us of people who have contributed to full-size aviation and wider. And that's just one of the many reasons why we want to celebrate the centenary. So just to give you an idea of what we're going to do this evening, I've just got a couple of slides of introduction, and then I'm going to hand over to Simon, who will take us through the record attempt, because I guess that's the main thing that you're interested in finding out about and just making sure you understand exactly what's required of you. There'll be time with Simon for questions and answers. Well, hopefully answers, but there'll certainly be questions. And then I'll pick up with a few more slides just to round it off. And again, there'll be time for question and answer after that before we finish at 8 o'clock. So let's just move on then to the next slide, possibly. Hopefully you're all familiar with this front page of the Centenary website. If you're not, do have a look. All the information you will need about the centenary is on there already and will be added to over the year. And there is a tab, you'll see it at the top, that says record attempt, I think. I can't actually see it on my screen because of the toolbar. Do go to that. It's very easy to find. And thanks to Andy for setting it up for us. So just moving on for one more slide. Next month, May, is Flight Fest month, and we circulated this booklet that Paul Tallett wrote for us. Paul Tallett is our marketing consultant, and it's really to help clubs promote themselves and make contact with the wider community and with the media, so that at a local level we can present model flying as an active sport that is engaging. It's got many challenges, and Paul uses the phrase in this booklet, a social club in the community. If your flying club is anything like mine, then flying occasionally takes place in between very long conversations, and it's a great social value. So if you haven't yet had the opportunity to look at that, it's on the website under clubs, I think it is, and you'll correct me if I'm wrong. So with those two bits, the reason I mentioned Flight Fest now, with the coming month of May, is that, of course, it's the record attempt. So I'm going to hand over to Simon now, who hopefully has sorted out his voice gremlins. You would have all enjoyed the 10 minutes we had before. It was very amusing. but I'll let Simon explain that. So Simon, over to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. I hope you can all hear me. Is that okay, Paul?
Yep, I can.
Perfect, good. Yeah, apologies for a small delay. I was having some technical gremlins with the audio on the computer, so I've transferred over to my mobile, and Paul's going to control the slides for me.
He actually sounded like Darth Vader, so you all understand. Darth Vader on helium it was.
It was quite amusing.
We thought more Barry White, actually, but it's fine.
Brilliant. Just to introduce myself, I'm Simon Vaitkevicius. I'm BMFA Records Officer, have been for the last 9.5 years, and my responsibility as Records Officer is really collation of UK records, awarding trophies, and recognising those that sort of achieve these type of activities. Just a quick background before I go into the record attempt itself, just to give you guys some idea about records in terms of the BMFA. Our records are open to all members, and the publication you can see there on the right, Rules and Records and Regulations, the record list, describes all of the UK records, the records that are set in competition, and also absolute records as well. So a lot of the records can only be set in competition, but there are quite a few that can be set outside of competition, and we term these absolute records. They're basically the UK records. We also have international, i.e. world records, that are awarded and recognised by the FAI, and they're also listed in there as well. We've got quite a few of them. And in the book itself, there are over 200 records allocated for all sorts of classes of model. And interestingly, the record we're looking at tonight is a unique record in terms of the UK and also the world, which I'll go into in a bit. The records list themselves actually go back to the foundation of the SMAE and BMFA over, well, around 100 years ago, thereabouts. So it's interesting to see the sort of progression with records, and also to see sort of the way records have been set, and also the ones that haven't actually got anything allocated to them. So I recommend you go and have a look at that if you would like. But that's background to the records with the BMFA. Now, I came up with the idea of setting a record for the Centenary because I sit on the Centenary committee. And I thought, as records officer, it would be fantastic if we could set a record to commemorate and celebrate the centenary. And I was very keen on it being a record that we can all participate in, all 30,000 members. So I wanted it to be a very sort of inclusive record that we can all go out and celebrate. And when I started to look at this, there wasn't actually any records that we could do. I went to FAI, I went to Guinness World Records, and really, if we wanted to participate in a record attempt, it would have to be done on one side. But because of the, how should I say, increasing communication globally, and the ability to sort of validate records remotely, and more of an acceptance of that, a UK-based record where we set a record at each one of our clubs and used it as a cumulative record on one day at one time seemed like a very, very good option. And it's gained momentum. And I'm pleased to say we've got over 200 clubs registered to take part as of today for this record attempt. So it's a mass participation event. You can participate using whatever models you fly on your it's to be set at your local airfield. On the day, if you're limited by having models in the air, you can fold it, as long as you're a member, you can fold a paper dart and throw the dart, and as long as it's airborne at 12 noon, you can participate in the record. Okay, I'm not, it's for any type of model aircraft at all, drones, free flights, control line, anything at all, anything goes. So all forms of modelling take part. I'm very impressed with. I've been very impressed and quite heartened by a lot of clubs that have embraced this and sort of given me their strategy for how they're going to put the most number of models in the air at one point at their club in a safe manner, by launching, say, the gliders first, so they're up high, helicopters, drones, etc., etc. It's just really, really encouraging. Also, all ages and experience are included. The only proviso is you've got to be a BMFA member, okay, to take part in that. As I said earlier, the record itself is to be held at 12 noon on the 15th of May 2022. And the record is for the most number of models in the air at that point in time across the UK. And I'll explain to you how we'll record it on the next slide. How we will.
Simon, just before you move on with that, can I just ask you a couple of questions?
Yes, of course you can.
That are relating to clubs and that, which I think probably. Gordon King asked, so I originally registered the club as not open to guests for the event, which means we don't pop up on your map. Can we change this, please?
The map itself was designed to let country members and other members that say are away on holiday see which local club local to where they were going to be was accepting members. That was the members to come join them as guests. That was the idea. I'll talk to Andy Simmons about this.
Yeah,
I think
Gordon, let me butt in. Gordon, if you send me an email, andy@bmfa.org, I will. I can change you and put you on the map as long as I've got the details of where you are. So any same for any other club. If you're happy to accept guests and you put no when you filled the form in, just let me know, andy@bmfa.org, and I will get you on the map.
Okay.
One more question, Simon.
Yes.
We are fortunate. This is from Colin Bernard. We are fortunate to have 3 fields. Currently, only 1 nominated. Can we add the other 2?
Yes, of course you can. If you send me what you need to do with this, a couple of other clubs are in the same situation as you, and what I've said to them, if you on the form that you submit, there's in terms of location, you'll see this. If you're a coordinator, you can actually put more than one field on there. This is something I'm quite sort of heartened about as well, because one of the clubs I was talking about are going to operate from 3 fields. So they're going to operate gliders from one field, power from another, and drones from another. And I think it basically maximises the number of participation for that particular event, which I think is absolutely fantastic.
Apologies for interrupting. Yeah, no, it's
good. So okay then. So next slide, please, Paul. You may ask what the record is, and at the moment we'd set out originally from day one to set a world record, and that's kind of where we're going with this. But there's a couple of, for those that know a little bit about record setting in terms of aeromodelling or even full-size aviation, there's a number of gates you've got to get through first. At the minute, there's no set UK, European or world record for this class of attempt, okay? The most number of models in the air was set, I think, at Muncie in America a few years ago, and it was about 180 models. We've got 200 clubs participating in this record, so we're going to kind of have far more models than that, hopefully. And but this record, with the progress in technology and the understanding of how we record these records, it allows us to have participation from all over the UK at designated clubs, which kind of maximises the number of models in the air at this particular one time. We approached FAI, and they've agreed to issue a diploma on successful completion of this record, which recognises our achievement. That's a massive achievement because they don't just give out diplomas randomly. It's a massive achievement, and I thank the FAI for agreeing to do this. And that will be a major achievement for all of us. We do need good UK participation to make the record valid. I think I'm always a believer, if you're going to set a mass participation record, you need a lot of people to do it. Fortunately, that looks like that's going to be the case, and I'm really encouraged by that. But just sort of to say that, you know, we do need everyone to take part. And what I will do, based on a successful attempt and the diploma being issued, I will then chase the world record to be awarded. Okay, but through either FAI or Guinness World Records. That has to be done after the attempt, because I need the evidence first. And with the evidence, I can get the diploma. I can get the get sort of, and the diploma, I can kind of progress it forwards. Okay, and I can put a dossier together, and hopefully come on to a slide later, which is about recording the event. And you'll be asked to take some photos, write some stories, and give us your story on this momentous day of how you've actually participated towards the record, and that will go towards the world record application. So, how do we take part? So, what you'll be aware, I think most people will, that the register has been open for a while for clubs and youth groups. And like I say, we've got over 200 clubs involved at the moment, okay? If you're an individual that wishes to participate, I urge you to look on the map that's on the link you can see on the screen there, and to find your local club that's accepting guest flyers and contact them directly and ask whether you can fly with them. Reason being, if it's difficult for individuals to just take part, because I need to verify the flight, and in order to verify the flight, you need another BMFA member to sign the form off. Purely from an administration perspective, it would be an absolute nightmare to have another, I don't know, a couple of hundred individuals, that just send me forms that I have to verify. I'm not saying I won't do it, but I would. The whole idea of this, it's about networking, it's about getting together, it's about getting out there and seeing what clubs do. So if you're an individual that wishes to participate, please try and contact your local club. If that's not possible, if there's not one locally, and you do have, say, two, maybe three BMFA members that wish to take part on a private site, please contact me directly. My details are on the form.
Simon, just before you move on again, just a question came through from Derek Chapman. Is there still a requirement for a video that shows all models flying at 12 for verification purposes?
No, I was actually going to come on to that towards the end of this.
Okay, so, apologies.
So, but I will address that now, actually, Mark, if that's okay. Originally, when we were actually going for a Guinness World Record, the Guinness were quite strict on how they wanted to see how the record was set. And the only way we could possibly do this was record it on video, timestamp it, and just basically load all of them videos onto a network drive somewhere, and then get them analysed. And if you imagine, that's, first of all, from a videoing perspective, an absolute complete nightmare, because if you've ever tried to record model aircraft on video, it just doesn't work that well. Okay, they're just dots in the sky. Secondly, trying to then compress the video into a meaningful size, putting it onto a network drive, file naming it, all that sort of stuff. It all became quite a nightmare. So I've agreed that every club has a club coordinator that is, and the responsibilities of the coordinator are explained on the next slide. And basically, they will be responsible for recording on paper the details for each site, the people that have participated, and then sending it in with a photograph and maybe even a short report if you can do that as well. So that's it. So the requirement to take videos has been dropped. It was just proving to be a complete nightmare. Okay.
I think one of the reasons he's asking the question is, he just pointed out it's still referring to that on the website.
Okay, so
dealing with that as we speak.
Oh, it's Derek. It has gone. There you go, sir. Well, thank you. That is that's going to be very helpful for them all. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Derek, as well, for pointing that out.
Simon, a question from me, just to help. You mentioned the photograph.
Yeah.
Obviously, we know we can't capture all planes in the sky at one time. So, is the photograph like a team photograph holding?
Yeah, like the one. Exactly, like the one that's on screen at the moment. Just a nice group photo showing everyone that's taken part. If you want to take some flying shots, you can do if you want. If you're a drone flyer and you wish to capture it from the air, like I know that some drone flyers would like to do that, please do it. Send us. All this information is fantastic to put together in a dossier, but also a record for the event, because this is the first time we've ever tried to attempt this. It's about bringing members together, and then this is all about this is all sort of evidence and good sort of stuff to put into the record. Okay, so that's what it's all about. Going back to what I was talking about before about guest flyers, make contact with your club coordinator. If you're a member of a club that's actually already registered, please contact your coordinator internally within the club, and just sort of say, hey, I would like to take part, or they even maybe reaching out to you at the minute. Just make sure that sort of they know that you want to take part. When you're on the day, turn up in good time. Be airborne at 12 noon. So basically everything has to be in the air at 12 noon, whatever it is, whether it be a big thermal glider, drone, helicopter, or even a paper dart. It's got to be in the air at 12 noon. As long as it's in the air at 12 noon and then down, whenever you want to afterwards, that's fine. And on the day, also provide your name, BMFA number, and model type to the coordinator. I thought it would be quite nice to capture the different types of models that were taking place for no other reason that it's just a nice thing to capture. I don't, on the form, there's nothing more than the name. Okay, so next slide, please. So club coordinator. So what I said before is we dropped the need for the video to take place, put the responsibility in the hands of the club coordinator. So we have a coordinator that's on each site that's responsible for the individual attempts on that site. Okay, then people are my eyes and ears. Okay, they'll be responsible, as it says here, for making the club aware of the attempt and encouraging people to participate. On the day, recording names, BMFA numbers, and model types onto the forms. Andy's got the names of all the coordinators, and I did see an email went out today. I got it because I'm the coordinator for my site. Basically, say with details how to log onto the system and record everything. And you're very welcome to go and try it out beforehand as well, if you need to. And then submitting that form, signed and witnessed with the photos and supporting information if you would like to submit that. We are asking people to submit a group photo. We would like to see that. If you want to write a short report, please do, but if not, it's not essential. I can't stress enough, the coordinators are the key to success with this attempt. I can't be on over 200 sites. Okay, I'm ultimately responsible for the record. Okay, I'm the one that says whether it's a record or not. But I rely on the coordinators to basically tell me whether it's been successful or not. So I want to say thank you very much for volunteering to be a coordinator. And if you've got any questions, we can take them later.
Simon, what you just, sorry, I'm coming in. It was just that there's one that's very, very relevant to what Brian Tucker just asked. Can the club coordinator fly in the record attempt?
Of course they can. I'm not, absolutely. There's nothing to stop you. And actually, I'll be flying one of my little smaller gliders in the attempt. So yes, definitely. And the more people, the better. Okay. And it's the coordinator's work is basically before and after the attempt. I'm also going to run, although I haven't set the dates yet, 3 workshops between now and the record attempt for Q&A sessions for the coordinators. So it'll just be an open style discussion, no slides, nothing like that. Just literally so the coordinators can have support before the event. I plan to run 3 of them in the evening, on separate evenings, not in the same week, probably one week, one the next, and one the week after, just to basically make sure all the questions are answered and everyone knows what they're doing. Okay, so that's what we'll be doing. Andy will, I'll liaise with Andy on them dates. I'll get Andy to send the meeting requests out to everybody, so they can choose which one they want to do. You don't have to attend all 3. They'll be the same event. I'm just running it 3 times to allow people to attend. Okay, so that's that. Next slide, please.
It's there.
So, final slide from me, really, or penultimate slide, actually. I want to know your stories, because this, obviously, it's a, when I first thought of this idea, I was actually more, I thought, let's set a record, great stuff. But then it's like, well, you think, okay, but then how do you make people participate? But then this is grown into, the strength in this is the fact we're asking everybody to participate in their own way. We're celebrating 100 years of the society. It would be great to have something in the archive to basically say this is how we celebrated it for the future, for the next 100 years. Please send in your photos. Please send in your videos. You might have little stories, little anecdotes. You might want to, photograph the youngest person that took part and the oldest person that took part. And have them as sort of the nice thing. I know many clubs are having barbecues. Many clubs are having, they're basically bringing together a community as such. And we want to know your stories. There's no, I don't. You've got a few weeks, obviously, to send this in, or maybe even a month or so if you want. But I would like to know. I'm sort of openly inviting everybody to sort of tell their own story about how they set and participated in the record for the Centenary.
Can I just dive in there, Simon?
Of course you can.
Yeah. What I'm planning on the website, because it's not, the Centenary website isn't going to be taken down at the end of the year. It's just going to live there sort of in perpetuity for people to have a look at. And if every coordinator, when you do submit your information with that photograph, if you could just write a couple of sentences, how many people took part at your location, things like that. And then each picture, there'll be a gallery on the site, and every one of those pictures will be on the gallery. And if you put a few paragraphs in there, they will be there as well. So it'll make a really good record for it. But obviously, we can only do that if the information's provided.
Absolutely. Thank you, Andy. And I agree with that as well. And also, I will say as well, I'll be using the information for the dossier for World Record application as well. So they tend to like this sort of information. The more information you can give a governing body, the better. So anything you've got, please give it to us, and it'll be great to hear from you. Next slide, please. I couldn't resist putting the Record Breakers logo in there. It's from my childhood. That's kind of, if Record Breakers were still going, that's kind of a thing where we would be on, if possible. But unfortunately, it sort of got pulled ages ago. But basically, all this slide says is save the date, 15th of May, 2022, 12 noon. Okay, this is your opportunity to participate in this momentous occasion. Do you want to just carry on, Paul, with the presentation, and then we'll take questions at the end?
Probably questions, aren't there, Mark?
Yeah, let me go through the questions, I think, Simon, whilst we're talking about the record attendance. There's a 14 half dozen or a dozen questions here, actually. John Taylor asks, he asked before we even started here, who can sign the witness declaration? Can it be a club member not taking part, or does it have to be an independent witness not associated with the club or BMFA?
So ideally, it would be a club member. It needs to be a BMFA member. So it can be anybody basically that takes part who's a BMFA member could countersign the form. Okay, for the witness form.
Thank you.
Okay.
David Tappin, sorry, I've got to put my teeth back in here. Were we to carry a piggyback chuck glider and release it to float down on its own, could that count as two models?
Do you know what? In all the time I've come up with every eventuality, but I haven't come up with that eventuality. Yes, why not?
I think the point is, one of the questions I was going to ask, the record attempt is the models in the air at midday.
At midday, yes. So basically, if the piggyback model's released just before midday, and it's floating towards the ground, it's in the air. So yes, to answer.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you. Louis Hawkins, can you confirm what the position is regarding the number of models in the air? Our club rules restrict us on an MOD site to 6.
Okay, so I've been asked this a few times now, and Louis, I'll give you the answer I've given to everybody else. So in terms of models in the air at any one time, you're restricted to 6. I'm assuming that's radio or something like that. So there's nothing stopping you from throwing a chuck glider or a paper dart or something that's can be sort of controlled in a very close proximity, but airborne at 12. Okay, so what I would say to you is get 6 models in the air, and everyone else that can't get the models in that air, get some chuck gliders or get some paper darts in their hands and let them participate then.
Brilliant. Okay. James Vincenti, it's a difficult one here. Well, for me to answer, I don't know whether anybody else can. Is BMFA temporary membership accepted for the record attempt? Yes, Andy's nodding already. This way, more family members can take part.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So long as the thing I need, and this is something I was talking actually to somebody about this earlier today. They phoned me up. What I need is an audit trail back. So basically, I need to see a BMFA number that tallies with the name that's provided. And this is actually why potentially SAA members can't participate in this, because we need a BMFA number that's on our database. Because part of the cross-check I've got to do for the UK record and the FAI record and also world record is I've got to have evidence without being on site. So temporary membership, it'll come up on our system. Okay, perfect, absolutely perfect.
Brilliant.
As well as normal members. So that's the reason for doing it. Okay.
Alex Blackwell asks, how many 2.4 gigahertz models can practically be airborne simultaneously? We'll probably find out is the answer.
No, I don't think you need to worry about that at all. I think when it first came out, when we had Spectrum using, it wasn't full spread Spectrum. I think they had about 89 in the air at once, but things have moved on a long way from there. So it's, I don't think it's ever we're going to get to any numbers at a single site where it creates a problem.
No, I'd agree with that, Andy. I was going to say around 100, but from work I've done in the past, but it shouldn't be too much of an issue at all.
It certainly won't be a problem for that MOD site anyway. Let's put it that way. Brian Hamills asks, when we set the world record for the most RC helicopters in the air, we had to have reps from the Guinness Book of World Record present. Do you want to clarify this and set this one straight, Simon? In terms
I will. Yeah. So Guinness changed their rules somewhat on record applications, and as we were a corporate body, we would have to register our record and attempt our record under corporate rules, which meant I would have to stump up a fee of around a minimum of £8,000, maybe more, to set this record. And when we start to talk about extending that over a number of sites, Guinness just don't have the ability to do that. FAI will be verifying the record for us. It'll be the diploma that we're getting will actually be evidence that we've set the record, certainly on a UK basis, and that will then set the basis to apply to single applicant for Guinness World Record or an FAI record, and that's where we're going with it.
Brilliant, thank you. Derek Chapman asks, do the coordinators have to submit the names of all those that are going to take part prior to the event? No,
they don't. So that's no longer a requirement. Just the forms. If you log on, you'll see the forms to the coordinators page that Andy sent out. You'll see the forms are on there, and it's just on the day.
Alan Paul asks, can a pilot fly 2 models, e.g. launch a free flight, then fly an RC plane?
Again, I'll refer back to question 3 or whatever it was. Yes, if you really would like to do that. It's the most number of models in the air at one time, but please do it safely.
I think I can fly all 3 of my DJI drones at once. You just put one up and it just sits there. I'm tempted.
Whatever we do, just make sure it's safe.
Alex Blackwell, do you need the forms returned by post, or is scanned and emailed okay?
The form itself online is, Andy, you'll correct me if I'm wrong.
Do you want me to take this one?
Yeah,
all the record coordinators at each site have been emailed with a link and a password to access a page. So you complete the form online, the declaration form, you upload a scan of it to that. upload your photograph, and you can write your short report all on one online form. Click submit, and then we've got it.
Well done.
Simple as that.
Right. One tricky question coming in. Frank Skilbeck. Can we nominate a backup coordinator in case of illness, as in COVID?
Yeah, good question.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And you can either if any club is in that situation, my email and Andy's email are on the website. They can actually just contact us directly, and we'll sort it out.
And there's always one who's going to raise the weather question. Derek Chapman, thank you for this. Will there be a postponement if weather is atrocious?
So, to answer the question, I did discuss with Mark and Andy about the possibility of a second reserve date sometime in September. I'm hoping I've booked good weather. I'm hoping for good weather. But if we are rained off, or if it's too windy or something like that, we will look at rescheduling it and let everybody know within the year. Okay. I don't want to publish a date just yet because we want to go for this date.
I said there's always one. Well, there was two. Paul Harris, what happens if it rains on the day? You've answered that one.
Get wet.
Get wet.
Get wet. You've got to be all airborne at 12. That's all you got to be. paper darts.
Philip Yeo, when recording model type, is glider, power, control line, drone sufficient? Just a brief description.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
So I'm running through these quickly, Simon. We've now increased.
I'm just thinking what I might do is actually amend the form slightly, because at the moment it's a text field. But what I may do, just to make the process easier for everybody, is make it a tick box field. So, and you'll have options. You just tick the box. That'll make life a bit easier for everybody.
That sounds perfect, Andy. Sounds perfect.
Right. Tim Kerrs, what will the timescale be to submit the participation report?
So the participation report itself, so I would like it within 2 to 3 days. The report, the actual report itself. That means I can kind of get on and collate the data, because if you imagine 200 plus clubs, it's going to take me a little while to get through it. So 2 to 3 working days would be good, and we'll clarify this to the coordinators at the sessions we've mentioned that we're running. Okay.
I think this is Louis Hawkins, not Lewis. Forgive me if I've got that wrong. Can you confirm that Ilminster and District RC Club are registered? I am the club coordinator and have yet to receive any docs. Thank you.
If you give me a moment, I will check for you and get back to you.
I'll leave that on the screen, Andy. Adrian Turner, are there any plans to notify the television media that this is a national event? This will encourage local stations to engage with us more readily when we make contact. Maybe Paul.
I believe Paul's already made some contacts on that, but yes, is the short answer.
Yeah, that's Paul Tallett, but also locally, use your local media, newspapers and local radio and whatever, local TV, if you've got it, would be really good.
We've tried. We are doing something as mentioned, but also if you can kind of also yourselves in sort of your local areas, if you've got local contacts, please make contact yourself. Yeah. Okay.
A character called Michael Woodhouse, who we know very well. Can one person have more than one model in the air at any one time? Well, I think we're aiming for everybody to have more than one model in the air at one time, aren't we?
So yeah, Mike, we did cover that earlier. Yes, you can, as long as it's controlled safely and not causing an issue.
Barry Hobbs, is the record per model or per flyer? Could a single person launch 2 models, for example, free flight, dart, etc.? Again, probably
a similar question to before. Yeah, it's per model in the air. It's the number of models in the air at one time.
Yeah, fly as many models as you like, but safely is the answer.
Yeah, safety is paramount here. Okay, guys. I'd say don't go having 2 power models in the air at once and two transmitters. But if you can safely launch, say, a very light free flight model, and as Andy said, a drone or something like that, as long as it's under control, please do.
Just to go back to answer Lewis Hawkins, no, we haven't received anything. I've just typed the link in and I'll put it in the chat. that takes you to the online form to complete. And if you do that, I'll get it on there for you. There we go.
Thanks, Andy. Nigel
Thanks,
Castle, can you confirm emailed PDF copies of signed forms are acceptable? Also, can you load old Excel versions of spreadsheets, as mine is a steam-powered Excel 2000? I can't open the version you have loaded.
Okay.
Right,
Andy, sorry.
Yes, I will see what I can do on that. In terms of when it comes to upload the record, if you've got less than 20, you don't need to upload the spreadsheet. You only need to upload, you would enter the information straight on the form. It's only if there's more than 20 that you would use a spreadsheet, but I will put an older version that you can download on the website as well.
Brilliant. Thank you. Peter
Okay.
Willis, what are the plans from a national publicity point of view? Paul, do you want to cover that one? Give Simon a breather for a moment.
Yeah, Paul Tallett, who I've mentioned earlier, he's in touch with many of the media companies, the BBC, ITV, local television as well. So there'll be press releases going out. But I think the thing I would emphasize, obviously we want the national perspective as well, but I can't emphasize enough that please use your local media as well and build a relationship with them, because there could be benefit there in the future because you've got a relationship with them when you do another event locally.
Thanks, Paul.
Cool.
Thomas Jones, sounds like Simon's a great deal of work to do, and this should be thanked. We'll thank him after we get the record, shall we?
Yeah.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate that.
We don't mean it. We love him. Mark, this is from Mark, not me talking to Mark. Where is the declaration form? Andy, do you want to send that link out again, please?
Yeah, well, all the coordinators have already had an email with the link. It's on a password protected page, but I will be emailing all the coordinators again with all the links and attachments and various bits and pieces. So you won't have a problem. You will definitely have it as long as you're listed as the coordinator.
Yeah. Graham Laurie, if the record is achieved as a fundraiser for BMFA, will a celebration T-shirt be printed?
It's not a fundraising event because I wanted this to be a free event that everyone could join. So, but if anyone wants to sponsor T-shirts, that's cool.
Gordon King, if we're successful, and I'm sure we will be, do we get a copy of the diploma with a grinning face? Electronic version, I'm sure we can do, can't we?
Easily, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, electronic one, yes.
We like working on the hoof there, so good. Peter Becker, will you accept remote locations by BMFA members in North America? Ooh.
Sadly, no, it's got to be in the UK.
Sorry, Peter.
Okay.
But thank you for your question.
I understand that there are flights again from North America across.
Yeah.
We can't do it virtually, can we?
No, sorry.
Gary Peacock, can I change the club coordinator as I will be elsewhere now taking part on a course?
Yeah, yes. Contact Andy Simmons, please. Yeah.
Bob Condry, I was considering getting local radio involved, Radio Wiltshire, to be at the event and broadcast live maybe. Is this evidence that you can use to support the claim?
It's good evidence. Yeah, absolutely. It's good evidence that will show that we've reached out to people, and yeah, it's great. So yes, definitely, it's a really great way of publicising it.
Maurice Dyer apologises for joining late. How do we register? How do we register our participation? Online link. We'll put it on the again.
Yeah. If Andy
but that's fine.
If Andy could put that on, that'd be great. Okay.
And that's the Morris Hornets Model Flying Club. We'll give a shout out to them. Andy Fox, I work for ITV and plan to engage with our newsroom, who hopefully will forward details of this event onto regions in the UK. Andy, that is fantastic. What we ought to do is we ought to, if you can get in touch with Andy or Paul, Andy will give you his email address. We can put you in touch with Paul Tallett, who has been coordinating all of the TV, just to make sure that we don't, or make sure we do double up, probably. But if you can get in, Andy, could you drop your email address for Andy Fox, please? That would be brilliant.
Thank you. That's,
Mark,
thank you for that.
Mark, I've just put my email address on the chat box as well.
Brilliant, thank you. Colin Dillaway, apologies for lateness, stuck on motorway, but do we need to record video footage? The answer is no to that. Just to save Simon from saying that, that has been removed now from the website. We've made it a little bit simpler, or Simon has anyway. So
perfect, thanks.
We're gradually getting through these questions.
Good.
Adrian Turner, I noticed that your backdrop supports Ukraine. We would like to use the event to collect for Ukraine and intend to have a banner plane to open the event. Can you help us with the artwork to produce a large banner? Andy, you're muted still.
Yeah, that should be a problem. Drop me an email and I'll pass it to, it'll probably be Mr. T and the arts department, because when it comes to graphics, I'm terrible.
Yeah.
But I must say, what a brilliant idea. Well done.
Yeah, thank you. And we wholeheartedly support it. Definitely. No questions.
I think as a general thing, if clubs want to use it as a fundraiser for local charities or something like Ukraine, then would encourage that. It's a great thing to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely.
Andy Fox from Channel Islands are officially outside the UK, but are part of the British Isles. Do as mere mortals in Jersey qualify?
We've got a club already registered in Jersey.
We have, yeah.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, let's just say yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they are. Yeah.
No, that's good. That's fine.
Louis Hawkins again. He's apologising for being a nuisance. Never a nuisance. But I have endeavoured to register on 2 occasions, including an email to Simon. Problem seems to be we do not have a URL address for Merrifield. Help, please.
It's a Google Map URL, so you just find your location on Google Maps. Right click on it, and it will and just click on what's here, and then you'll be able to find it from there. But just fill the form in and just put help in that box, and I'll sort it for you. Assuming it's Merrifield, I mean, you don't need it bang on in terms of location. It's just people have an idea. We're talking Merrifield southwest area somewhere, aren't we? But yeah, we'll sort it for you. No, don't worry about that.
Paul, I think we better go over to you just to wrap up the other side of the presentation. Just thank Simon for that. We've got through the questions, although another one's popped up, so we'll get some more questions at the end. So Paul,
right, we'll deal with that then. Okay then, guys, I'm going to rattle through the next bit. So if there's any more questions, there's a little bit of time to do that. So let's just look at the wider program that we've got. And this isn't everything I'm going to mention, but it's just some of it. Get this to, there we go. On the 15th, Friday the 15th to Sunday the 17th of July, we've got a celebratory weekend at Buckminster. On the Friday, there'll be a formal event for people we want to influence from the world of politics or media, partner agencies, Royal Aeronautical Society, etc. And that will see also the opening of the Centenary exhibition, which I'll say a little bit more about in a second. The 16th and 17th, we're going to invite clubs to nominate 1 or 2 people to come to Buckminster as our guests to celebrate the centenary. Those 3 days will have the background of a warbirds fly-in that Manny is coordinating with Richard Scarborough, which should be a great backdrop. And there's a few other things that I won't mention now that we're hoping to happen that weekend, all being well. I've just mentioned the exhibition. Jim Wright and Martin Dilley and Joe Kemp are putting in an amazing shift over a long period of time, really definitely a year, 15 months, to pull together a centenary exhibition showcasing some of the earliest model aircraft that are still in existence right up to the current day. But we also want to point to the future, because I think one of the things about the centenary is it's not just about looking backwards and celebrating the past. It's an opportunity for us to look to the future and to promote our sport as an accessible and enjoyable activity to the wider community. I think we all know that our age profile in the BMFA is, the word I would use, mature, more mature than we might wish. So it's an opportunity to promote our sport. So that will be open most days, not every day, because we've got to man it with volunteers or staff it with volunteers. But from the 18th of July through to the end of August, more information will come out in due course. But it's very much a case of just check, probably on the Buckminster website, which days that week or any given week the exhibition will be staffed. It's a once in a lifetime opportunity, this. So I would really encourage people to just come and see the history of model flying in this country. Part of that is 100 Faces tableau. Okay, so a little quiz, a little challenge for you. Put into the chat box who you think these 4 individuals are. Just sit still, would you? The person with the glasses and the grey beard. Yeah, just he's holding his head down. I thought give you a chance to get 1 out of 4. Be great to see whether anybody gets 4 out of 4. They're all chosen for a reason. And be assured that the 100 Faces will not all be mature people from the past. The rookies, some of you may be aware of the Wooden Shoe company in the Netherlands, who produced this amazing little capacitor-powered foamy. It's a FAI international class now for young people, children and young people. And we've negotiated with Vincent of the Wooden Shoe Company to have a BMFA version. That's Vincent's photograph. Why it's on a motorcycle with his foot in the picture, I've no idea, but it's a really pretty little thing. So we've got 500 coming in the first batch, but we're hoping that we can sell many, many more and get them out into wider outlets and museums. One of the things about the centenary is we must look forwards, and legacy is a key part of what we're doing. And I think the BMFA Rookie is, for younger people, is something where we can start to build a legacy coming out of the centenary. And Andy, I'm going to give you credit, Andy, because it belongs to you, has come up with a brilliant idea of a postal competition later this year. So we'll be putting that together, but we need to get the supply of rookies into the country first, but they're on their way. I've seen a video of them being laser cut out of big sheets. So moving on, the good old BMFA Dart is having a makeover. It's having a centenary makeover. Manny is looking after that, and they'll be available shortly. My own club we're restricted by the number of RC models we can have in the air because of noise, but there's no restriction on what we can put in the air. So we're going to have a mass launch of darts as well. So I think there were 3,000 in stock the last I heard. So hopefully we can sell out on darts. We've commissioned a centenary painting by a guy called Ben Goymer. And if you were in the air tonight where Father Luke Goymer spoke about his return to model flying, Ben is Luke's brother, and he's got a fascinating story. He was a Royal Marine Commando, served in Afghanistan, and I'm not going to tell his story, but because it will feature in a future edition of BMFA News. And the painting is about a week away, and there's only, I think Mark has seen it, I've seen it, Ian has seen it, and that's about it. So we've kept it very secret, but it's a a fascinating individuals take on model flying. It's really great.
A celebration of model flying, I think, Paul.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it. Yeah.
So we will say with that as well, just going on, that there will be some limited edition prints of that. So they will be made available, as well as there'll be likely to be some posters or some postcards and that. So we're going to try and get it out to many as who want it anyway. So there'll be different levels that we can do.
Yeah. If you want a longer term, or another memento of the centenary, we've got these really nice little lapel badges being made up. I had a happy 10 minutes lining them up on my building board. Get them from Buckminster or from Chacksfield House, or whenever you see me, and we'll pass them around to others as well. We're selling them at £2 each, so we only make a little bit of money on them. We want them to sell and to be a permanent memento for folk. Really, the heart of the BMFA is clubs, and it's fantastic to see the number of clubs that are putting together events, not just the record attempt, but other Flight Fest events or open events, fly-ins, scale events. My area had an indoor event 10 days ago, and this was an early event run by the Hemel Hempstead, High Wycombe and West London clubs in High Wycombe Sports Centre. 80 odd participants, 70 plus were radio flyers, some fantastic standard of indoor flying. If you ever get the chance to go to High Wycombe, I know it's not local to many, but it's absolutely huge. It's a 16-court sports hall. I fly indoor free flight, and it was a struggle to hit the walls, I have to say. So that's just one example of a club event, but we're also, areas are putting on events. So it's worth looking to see what your area is doing. So I just mentioned this one, which is the Midland area, who've challenged themselves to get 100 achievement scheme successes this year, which I just think is a fabulous thing to do. I know that Southern area is going to the South of England show with a stand. I know of other events that are taking place. One of the themes that we're pushing is, rather than asking people to come to us, if we can go to them. So one of the aviation museums up north is hosting a control line flying event. We've got Duxford, which draws in the crowds. Go to places where people are, rather than asking people to come to us, is a good way of looking at it. And that's pretty much all I want to say at this point in time. You'll be aware that BMFA News has got centenary information in it. Go to the website. It's always being up to date or updated, as you can see tonight. And before I finally close, the answers to the quiz. Ray Malmstrom on the left was the founder of the Impington Village College Model Aircraft Club. And if you were a reader of Aeromodeler, particularly in the 1970s, Ray had quirky plans published, and he was a cartoonist. He was the art teacher at the school, and he probably has done as much as anybody to introduce young people into model flying. The next guy, just world-renowned F1D, F1B flyer, somebody called Mark Benz.
I can't believe you dare even put me between these two icons. You know, the cam on the end. I mean, it's just like, yeah.
I'd be interested. Did anybody recognise David Boddington?
Yeah.
It's his son Andrew gave me the picture, and it's not an easy angle to see. And then the last picture is Sidney Cam, who is famous for anybody on this, who I can see. And he's muted. He's having a guess.
Hurricane designer, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was a designer of the Hawker Hurricane. But before that, he was a member of Windsor and Eton Model Flying Club. So almost ending where I started, we've got a fantastic legacy of contribution to the wider society and to aviation, as well as all that we as individuals have benefited from in model flying. So I think the key message is just celebrate and enjoy the year. Have fun, introduce new people, Let's not get too nerdy about it. Let's just make it accessible and enjoyable.
Paul, thank you very much. We'll just go through 4 more questions to wrap up. Mike Woodhouse, do we have to fly with our own BMFA registered club? Will any coordinator be okay? Simon.
So any club that's opened its doors to guest flyers, Mike, you can fly at if you contact them and their details are on the web. Okay, so if you're, for example, if you're on holiday or away, or if it's more convenient, that's the way to go. Okay.
Thank you. Simon, John Beck asks, if we have 20 BMFA members and they have 2 jet gliders each, how will that work with the record? I make that 40, but
No, that's 40 models. If they're all in the air at the same time, that's 40 models in the air at the same time.
Brilliant. Bring it on. And one for Paul, I think Colin Dillaway, will the rookie be available to be purchased from the BMFA?
Yes.
That was a yes, in case you didn't pick it up. Sorry.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yes, it will.
Yeah, we should have an online ordering form as well for it. That's the plan.
I think they're expected early May.
I think so. They're expected shortly. Vincent may even bring them over himself. And they're boxed. They're not in polythene bags. They're boxed. So they're a bit more robust in the post.
And a wonderful way to finish the Q&A, Colin Dillaway, is there a recording of this Zoom chat so I can re-watch it and get the bits I missed? Thanks. Andy, I'll leave that one for you to answer.
I will put the link in because we've been broadcasting live, and it's there immediately on the YouTube, and I'll put the link in the chat box now.
Yeah. And just before we finish, Mark, can I thank the members of the planning group that Simon and I are part of. So Martin Dilley and Joe Kemp, Ian Pallister, who's our chair, Paul and Manny and Jim, who have worked incredibly hard over the last year. And actually the work is getting more, as Simon has illustrated graphically this evening. I think you're going to need a lie down, Simon, once you've put this to bed.
Yeah, and Simon's not on that list, so but that's fine. We know Simon's part of it, so
that's fine.
And also, I think from everybody who's left in the room, and certainly from myself and that, I want to just thank, because I know how much work you've all been putting in as well. We've seen it from the from various different angles. So and again, these sort of sessions are really helping everybody get to understand what the celebrations for the year are all about. Just a couple of things from Neil Jarrod and the chat room. Thank you all for your time. One in the beard, I'm not going to go through that one again. No, he's a friend of mine, John Walker. I haven't seen Jonathan for ages, and I did respond to him. Peter Whitlow, excellent presentation and great info. Here's to the 15th of May. Happy flying weather. Got to jump. Got a work meeting. Somebody got Ray Maelstrom there. Yeah, I think we're through the chat. So, look, I think we've gone a little bit over time, but I would think we can probably wrap it up there. We've gone through all the questions, Q&As, and just thank everybody for turning up and spending the time with us this evening.
Yeah, I think we do have a hand up.
We have a Q&A as
well. So, Paul, you can unmute yourself. You've got your hand up, whether it's just from earlier, but if you want to ask your question, feel free.
Just before we wait for the voice to come through, Martin Harris asks, is there a preference for normal model flying or simply getting maximum models in the air, Simon?
Anything goes.
Anything goes. Maximum models in the air. We're in the broad church here, so let's
whatever you want to
do. Whatever, yeah, exactly, Andy. Whatever you want. So
I had an email from somebody a couple of days ago, and they said they can only ever have 2 in the air at once at their site. And I says, well, that's fine. That's 2. And if we have another 100 sites sign up with only 2 people each, that's another 200 people. So yeah, whatever you can do. Bit of lateral thinking. We've got a huge stock of the Aerojets. So get hold of 20 Aerojets and have 20 people launch those.
Yeah,
just
brilliant.
Just spotted a Jim Wright in the background there. Just come up. We'll get this one in just before we lose. We've got 120 in the room. We are all looking for for volunteers and stewards for the exhibition for Buckminster. So if anybody out there is interested in helping out, please get in touch with the BMFA. You've got all our details, and we'll gladly put a fluorescent yellow jacket on you and get you to assist.
We've got a few hands gone up, so I've allowed them to unmute so you can ask away any questions. John Beck.
Hi everybody, lovely meeting.
Hi John.
Quick question. If you've got, say, 20 BMFA, this was a question I asked earlier, you've got 20 BMFA people registered with chuck gliders, and they all have 2 each, which is 40. Would that not be, there's still only 20 people registered?
So you just submit one registration for each aircraft, in effect. So your aircraft number 1, which has a pilot, a BMFA number, and an aircraft type, and then aircraft number 2, there's nothing to stop it being the same pilot.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Brilliant. Thank you very much. That's great.
Simon, there'll be some quite interesting ones. I mean, John Kirkham here, quite interesting. There will also be a record for the most amount of RC crashes at any one time.
Yeah, I did see that come up. Again, I stress what I've stressed all the way through the presentation. Please,
Safe crashes. Safe crashes. That's what we want.
Safe. Fly safe.
Simon, I was thinking, if everybody jumps at 12 noon, does that count as well?
No, the problem there, we've got to be careful now, because if everybody did that sort of shortly after 12 noon, there'll be a tidal wave taking out New York. So we've got to be careful.
Fair point.
Wasn't this the point of my question to you all, or my statement was that if everybody launches at 5 to or 10 minutes to midday, they're flying at midday anyway. So
Yes, that's right.
I think you need to be a bit careful. Anybody launching a chuck glider or a paper dart at 10 minutes to midday, we're not all top class competitors like you, Mark. I suggest if you're launching a chuck glider, you do it at 1 second to noon, not do 2 seconds.
Yeah.
We'll go for 10 seconds. Let's go for 10 seconds. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, guys. Well,
I think Peter Becker had put his hand up and wanted to speak.
Yeah, the British Embassy in Seattle is a somewhat open area, and it's officially part of the UK. Would that count?
I'm going to say yes. I'm going to jump in before Simon says anything. Go for it.
Okay, I'll see what I can do. We have several British members. If not, we can actually. Can you become a member of the BMFA if you don't live in the UK?
Temporary membership, Andy.
Yes, I can. We can arrange that.
Let me see what I can accomplish.
Yeah,
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, the embassy is technically British territory.
Hey, yeah. You might have to make that your address.
Good one, Peter. Like that.
Excellent one. Excellent.
Right. Are we done?
I think we are. I think we can thank you. Mike Woodhouse has a single butterfly flaps its wings.
I think that's in relation to everybody jumping up at the same time. You see,
it must be. I was either that or he's had another glass of wine. But there we go.
Yeah, I reckon bottle. But there you go.
Martin Harris. Seems like each member with 2 chuck gliders, each would be the way to go. Just feels like a cheat rather than a meaningful record. Well,
I suspect that's not going to happen in that many places, to be fair. But it's about mass participation and everybody getting together, enjoying the day, whatever the weather.
Yeah.
And just, that's what bottle flying's all about for me. It's the social side and, many times I've been at the club flying field and occasionally a flight will break out.
Not too often.
Brilliant.
Right.
Thank you very much. Well,
are we done?
We'll call it a day. We're dropping down into the 90s and the 88s. People are leaving the room nice and quickly. Paul, Simon, thank you very much. Hopefully you got the first stream of voices out there, and long may it grow.
We ought to say good night to